Hello there, Team NECA. How are you? You know what day it is today. It's Monday. So thank you so much for joining us here on LinkedIn, Facebook, and YouTube. We're on all of the important platforms. If we're not on that platform simply doesn't exist. And thank you for joining us every single week. As you know, we use these live, and this is live. I'm coming to you live from beautiful Belfast. These live sessions are all about giving you the hottest new information on what NECA is doing for you as members and for the wider industry and the community as well. I love being part of the National Electrical Contractors Association, and I love it that you keep joining us all the time, every single week. And I hope that you had a lovely and safe Thanksgiving. We don't have Thanksgiving here in Ireland, but I'm thankful that you have Thanksgiving. So hopefully that means the same thing. Now, if you remember from the very first NECA Live that we did, which if I think from memory, I think it was 12 and a half years ago, my first ever proper guest on the show was David Long. And he talked about some of his big priorities for the organization. And the one that he kept saying that mattered most, the one that was at the center of every action and decision that he and his team was taking, was making sure that diversity, equity, and inclusion are at the forefront of everything that NECA does moving forward. And that is the theme of this week's NECA Live. Everybody at NECA truly and authentically believes that electrical construction is a richer, more fulfilling career when it's accessible to absolutely everyone, no matter who you are, where you're from, no matter what your background, your history, no matter what your makeup is. Ultimately, this is an industry that can enrich lives and that of your families and your communities as well. So to make sure that these ideas aren't just ideas, that they're actually turned into policies that make a difference on the ground, NECA has created a willing and able task force with the mission of developing an awareness and education platform that will foster and bring life to all of these goals and objectives. The association really does want to make sure that they create a long-term cultural shift, not a flash in the pan, not a one-off program, but a longitudinal impact that affects the industry and our communities truly for generations. Now, here to join us is one central member of that task force, Director of Member Relations at NECA. It is the one and only Wanessa Alves. Wanessa, thank you for joining us. How are you today?
I am good, David. How are you? Thanks for having me.
I am phenomenal. Tell me, how was your Thanksgiving? Did you have fun?
It was great. It was, safe at home with my immediate family, but we were still able to celebrate. And I think we all have so much to still be thankful for.
I think you're right. And I'm sure you didn't overindulge. I'm sure you were very good. Not too much food, not too much candy. I'm certain it was salads all the way.
I'll skip the salad, but we finished to keep it somewhat healthy.
Well, look, I know you have a task force. My task force is to bring Thanksgiving to Ireland. Please, I'm going to do everything I can to export that over, and then we can all be thankful here too. But while I have you, Wanessa, please take a moment to discuss the inspiration for the task force. Obviously, it's something that NECA really is putting front and center of the plans for not just today, but well into the future as well. What were the ideas around creating it, and why is it so important to NECA and to members?
So the inspiration for the task force was to develop an awareness and education platform for our members, and also to empower, like you mentioned, a cultural shift in diversity, equity, and inclusion through education, opportunity, awareness, and open dialogue. The task force was carefully and thoughtfully put together. We wanted to make sure that we had representation from across the country, and therefore each NECA district is represented. And the members of the task force are NECA contractors, NECA chapters, NECA staff, and it's diverse not only from a racial standpoint, but from diversity of thought, experiences, and people's backgrounds. So we're very excited to be working with the task force and all the work that will be coming from this.
And, I think it is so true that when we use that word diversity, that we should use it in every sense of the word, because it's so easy to think that it is just about racial or cultural groups, but sometimes it's about age, sometimes it's about where an individual was from, sometimes it's just about their approach, their mentality, how they see the world. Diversity adds so much texture, so much insight, and so much completeness to the decisions and actions that we take as organizations every day. And I know part of the mission of the task force is education. education about the subjects of diversity, equity, and inclusion. How will this education actually work? What will it consist of?
Well, the education will consist of different things. They include webinars, panel discussions, training modules. You mentioned earlier about NECA Live, and that was the first time that we actually introduced the topic in a form of an education track where we have 7 different education classes specific to DE&I. NECA is making a point to talk about diversity, equity, and inclusion at every NECA event. And a key thing to remember is that this task force has been created to serve as a point of contact for ideas and concerns around DE&I. So offerings will constantly be evolving, which is a great thing.
And it's that evolution, isn't it? Ultimately, it's a dialogue with the members so that they're getting the impact and widening access to everything that they do. I mean, what about a member tuning in now who's not really sure where to start, or just for those who are in the industry who really want to advance these causes? They want to make sure that diversity, equity, and inclusion is lived in a very real and authentic way in their lives, in their region, in their organization. What advice would you have?
Well, we have to remember a cultural change must start from within. So the advice, I guess, would be to look internally at your companies and create an inclusive climate. And the way you do this is just make sure that, you know, your employees feel safe to speak, that they feel as they belong. Then you can start having those conversations. You know, we need to get comfortable being uncomfortable and learn to listen to understand.
And that it is so brave, I think, for organizations today to feel that comfort in being uncomfortable. Sometimes it's just about asking uncomfortable questions, isn't it? Because that can glean tremendous insights and actually open meaningful conversations. Sometimes just having the bravery to ask those tough questions is a really great start. So what more can we expect from NECA and the task force in the weeks and months to come, Vanessa?
Well, NECA is committed to creating a long-term cultural shift in our industry. We're working on ways to connect with both the IBW and the Electrical Training Alliance. We're collecting data, evaluating education and curriculum, and we're also developing a communication plan. The task force will continue to meet on a regular basis, and we're working to contribute to the overall success of the electrical industry. We're also going to create ways for NECA members to reach out to the task force and NECA for discussion of different topics, and be in the lookout for new diversity, equity, and inclusion courses and in the NECA Learning Center, but also a lot more to come in 2021 with great speakers.
So there's going to be a lot of investment, but a lot of access as well. And the wonderful thing that NECA has worked so hard on these platforms to make these programs accessible to everyone, there really is no excuse for not engaging with it. Whether you're a CEO at this point or whether you are entry level, NECA has got a way for us to improve our performance on this for everyone, Vanessa. It really is incredibly accessible now.
It absolutely is. And getting educated is key to be able to address these topics. And that's something that we're looking into adding more content into our learning center and encourage everyone to participate.
Fantastic. Vanessa, thank you so much for sharing some time with us on this Monday. I really appreciate your time. If anyone wants to get in touch with you for more information, what's the best way they should do it?
They can just send me an email, wa@necanet.org. And we'll make sure to address it with the rest of the task force if there are any questions regarding DE&I, but we're more than happy to assist. Thanks for having me, David.
Thank you so much, Vanessa. Catch up with you again soon. And of course, thanks to everyone who's been tuning into all of these sessions. We're going to keep going because we love building this community. We love having your real life questions every single week. And let's go over to some of the comments that we've got. Jeff Darby is coming in from Wilmington. Jeff, it sounds like a beautiful place. Robert is coming in from Baltimore, Maryland. Oh, Robert, I used to live in Washington, D.C., and I love nothing more than visiting Maryland. So it's so nice to see you here. We've got Kelly Lamp. Kelly's a regular viewer. Kelly, it's good to have you here. And we've got someone coming in from beautiful New Jersey as well. Typhoon Remodeling. What a great name for a business. Drop everything and start writing novels with a name like that. So thank you so much. It is so good. Beth is saying, good job, Vanessa. She absolutely nailed it. I think we're a good team. And actually, Beth, you haven't been on NECA Live for a little while. So Beth, let's get that scheduled in. I miss you. I'd like to have you online. So look, we're really thankful for all of your support, for coming and joining us on all of these Mondays. We're going to keep them going, but we're also thankful for lots of things. We're thankful for the time that we got to spend together back when we could meet live. Do you remember when that happened? And, you know, personally, I'm also really thankful that NECA allowed me to spend some time with an amazing man, Tony Shea, an incredible business person who came and inspired us all with stories about giving back, with stories about generosity, with stories about service. Sadly, Tony lost his life recently in a really tragic accident. And I know that he had become part of the NECA family by sharing his story with us. So our thoughts really do go out to absolutely everyone in Tony's circle. We feel so lucky and so thankful that we got to spend a little bit of time with him. So folks, I hope we will see you back here really soon for another NECA Live. So for the time being, take care, stay safe and be good.